I just want to begin this video by saying thanks to every single one of you who like my videos, comment on my videos, and watch them. You know, roller coasters and amusement parks are my big hobby, and I'm glad I can share that love with every single one of you. And so with that, I don't want to waste any more time. I just want to delve straight into the Q&A. So I'm just going to say this. I'm reading off the screen in front of me the questions, and then I'm just going to delve into the answers. I have a few notes on there just to help myself get through them. So starting things off, CoasterDash asked, what are your top 3 favorite countries for 1, coasters, 2, culture, and 3, landscape beauty? So for coasters, I'm only going to include the countries that I've been to, and there are 3 that stand out to me. 1, the United States. Just the quality and quantity is really unmatched in my opinion. The only one that looks like it might be able to is China, but I haven't been there. 2, you have Germany. You have some elite rides like Expedition G-Force and Schwarzkopf, plus you have pretty good quantity as well. And 3, I'm going to go with Japan. You have some really weird rides, plus you have some elite ones like Egenika and Flying Dinosaur. For culture, there are 3 that stand out to me. 1, the UAE. Every single thing is new there, whether it be Dubai or Abu Dhabi. 2, I'm going to go with Japan. They're very technologically advanced over there, and also the locals are super friendly. And 3, I'll go with Sweden. I just love the old style architecture over there. And for landscape and beauty, number 1, I'd actually go with the United States. Just it's such a very diverse country. How you have the Grand Canyon on one side, and then you have the mountains on the other part of the country, and they're snow-capped. It's just really incredible. Number 2, I'd go with Mexico because you have the mountains around Mexico City, and then you get to the coastline, and it's just beautiful down by the beaches. And 3, I'd go with Germany. Bavaria is just breathtaking to see. Kaden Heu asked, how would you rank Twisted Cyclone compared to the other RMCs? I have it about mid-tier, 18th out of 18. It's a fun RMC. It's a little short, but it's very good for what it does. Coaster Yids asked, what is Canobie and is it related to Obi-Wan? So, the Canobie in my name references my home park, Canobie Lake Park, and Canobie Lake Park actually references Canobie Lake, which it borders. I wish it was related to the Jedi, but it's not. Coaster Insights asked, least favorite RMC, favorite Intamin, most ugly coaster, and congrats, man. Well, thank you. So my least favorite RMC is Goliath at Six Flags Great America. It's a very good ride. It's just short. I love all the elements it does have, though. My favorite Intamin is Expedition G-Force at Holiday Park. Amazing ejector airtime at every hill, and that setting in the woods is great. And the most ugly coaster I've ever ridden has to be the Starjet with shoes in Highland. I rode this a few years ago, back when it hadn't been repainted. I think it's now called Pink Typhoon Standing Coaster, and so it has a much nicer pink paint scheme. But when I rode it, it was all rusted over and just looked like it was going to fall apart. It looked hideous. Patrick Cadiz asked, were you ever scared of roller coasters? How, when, and where did you overcome the fear? Or what roller coaster got you into becoming an enthusiast? Origin stories of sorts. So, I always loved amusement parks and roller coasters for as long as I can remember. I guess one of the first coasters I explicitly remember scaring me was Boulder Dash at Lake Compounce. When I went to Lake Compounce, if you're not familiar with the park, Boulder Dash is back on the hillside in the woods, and you barely can see any of it before you ride. All you can hear is just the thunderous roar of the train speeding by. And that coaster terrified me. I hadn't been anything that tall or fast before. And so what I used to do is I used to send my dad on it once just to, I guess, test it out for me and tell me if it was good. And he always tested it out, and I'd always ride after him and love it. So after a while, I realized, I liked every ride I went on, and if I didn't, it would be over soon enough. Mr. Roller Coasters asked, he had a few questions, so I'll just go down the list. Number 1, are any roller coasters you've ridden perfect? In terms of ride experience, I would go with Lightning Rod at Dollywood. I just love that coaster's pacing, and every single element delivers for me. The issue with that ride is the reliability. 2, how many coasters have you ridden in their opening year? So I went through and counted, and I've been on 63 total coasters in their opening year, 4 wood coasters that ironically were all gravity groups, and 59 steel coasters. And the first coaster I rode during an opening year was Hydra the Revenge at Dorney Park in 2005. 3, are there any coasters you think you'll never ride? I'm going to go with Curse Splash at Edaville. That ride's supposedly been opening next year for as long as I can remember, so I don't see that ride ever opening at this point. It's just abandoned in the corner of the park, and I can't see it opening at this point. 4, are there any parks other than your home park that you try visiting every year? So I'll consider any park in New England a home park for me. So with that being said, I always try to visit one of the Disney parks every year, whether it be Disneyland or Disney World. I'm a big Disney fan. Hence why I'm wearing, a Chip and Dale shirt, and you can see some of the characters behind me. 5. In 20 years from now, do you see RMC or Intamin still being the best manufacturer, or do you think a new manufacturer is going to come in and dominate the coaster world? So honestly, I'm going to go with Vekoma here. Just because they have a huge amount of rides going every year, and they're innovating at such a quick rate, and with their just how diverse their ride offerings are, I could see them being the big one. And 6, what's your rarest park credit you've ever got? I'll probably go with Warner Brothers World Abu Dhabi, just because it's in an area most enthusiasts don't get out to, and it's the newest park that opened in that region. Augustus of Prima Porta asked, 1, have you been to Japan? Yes, I went to Japan in 2018 and I loved it. Beautiful country, extremely nice people, and Tokyo Disneyland is one of my favorite parks in the world. 2, thoughts on Six Flags Over Texas, and what do you think they could use in the future? So I think Six Flags Over Texas is one of the nicest looking Six Flags parks, and their coaster lineup's pretty well rounded. The thing I really want them to add, I just don't know if they would, I'd love to see them get a replacement dark ride for Yosemite Sam's Gold Rush Adventure, because that ride was destroyed in that flood a few years ago. 3, favorite coaster in the UK? Without a doubt, Nemesis. It's one of my favorite inverts, very forceful ride, and I just love how it uses the terrain, has some theming around it. And 4, favorite coaster at your home park? I will go with the Yankee Cannonball at Canobie Lake Park. It's not quite as good as it used to be ever since the retracking, but it's just a great classic ride, buzz bars, and it has some airtime pops, just not as many as it used to have. Coaster Cloud asked, what countries for coasters haven't you been to yet, but is on the top of your bucket list? So for me, it's probably China. That's just such an intriguing country because they have such a huge range of amusement rides over there. I just don't know when I'll get over there, just because it seems like a hard country to travel to, just because I can't use my phone and all the apps I'm familiar with. Civilian Satellite asked, what was your senior design project? Okay, so the first non-coaster question. I worked on developing a metal 3D printer that could deposit metal using semi-solid slurries, as opposed to the powder-based metal additive manufacturing methods that existed. Mr. Coller Roaster asked, what's your number 1 bucket list coaster? For me, it's T-Express at Everland. I love the start of El Toro, and I love Balder, except how Balder doesn't have a first drop, and T-Express looks like the perfect marriage of the two. Number 2, number 1 bucket list theme park. For me, I'd probably go with Energylandia. I know it's not necessarily the best themed park, but that coaster lineup looks incredible with Zadra, Abyssus, and Hyperion. 3 favorite parks in Europe. For me, I have to go with Europa and Phantasialand. They're in 1 and 2 without a doubt. Some great coasters combined with unbelievable theming. Number 3, I would go with Alton Towers. There are a few that I could put in there, but Alton Towers has very dark but very good theming mixed with some very good coasters that use the terrain well. Number 4, 3 favorite parks in North America. For me, I'd go with Disneyland, Silver Dollar City, and Knoebels. Disneyland, just because it's the all-around themed experience. I'm just so happy at that park. Silver Dollar City has an amazing ride lineup combined with excellent theming throughout the park. And Knoebels is just a great classic amusement park with a very rare mix of attractions. Number 5, most overrated theme park. So I had a lot of trouble thinking of one for this, but I'm going to go with Universal Studios Hollywood. It's not a bad park by any means. It's just outside of that studio tour, it doesn't have anything that makes it stand out from the other Universal parks, in my opinion. Number 6, most underrated theme park. Warner Brothers World Abu Dhabi. I've talked ad nauseum about how great this park is, but it's truly exceptional. It's extremely well themed top to bottom. You have Disney, Universal quality dark rides, and just the way that park themes every single inch of that park just blew me away. Number 7, favorite coaster soundtrack. So I'd go with Helix at Leesburg, though Orion's a close second. I really like Orion's soundtrack. Number 8, favorite coaster name. Oh, this one's easy. Hunderpruten, or the Dog Fart Coaster at Bon Bon Land. I just love how immature that name is. Number 9, best coaster manufacturer. So my personal favorite is RMC. I love every single one of their rides and just how aggressive they are and how focused they are on ejector airtime. I Love Loop-de-Loops asked, RMC or Togo? The RMC. I think these are supposed to be joke questions at the start. Launch coaster or kiddie coaster? Launch coaster. Have you ever ridden a coaster in Antarctica? No, I don't think I'll ever go there in my lifetime outside of the SeaWorld Orlando ride, though I think that's closed now, so I might not go there again. Airtime or inversions? Airtime easily. Height or speed? I'd go with speed, and more or less it can just be sense of speed, because you can have a lot of height and your coaster can feel slow, but if you have a lot of speed, that makes a ride feel exciting. And do you love loop-de-loops as much as I do? I'm guessing I don't based off your name. British Thrillseeker asked, congrats on 1,000 subs. What are your top 10 United Kingdom coasters? So I haven't been to the UK since 2017, so this list isn't going to include Icon or Wicker Man. And I also have only been to Thorpe, Chessington, Alton Towers, and Blackpool. So my top 10 are going from best to worst. Number 1, Nemesis Alton Towers. Great invert, and I just love the forces and the terrain use. 2, Smiler at Alton Towers. Just the sheer amount of inversions in that ride is incredible, and just how it weaves around that intricate structure. 3, Stealth at Thorpe Park. It's very similar to Accelerator, but that launch is unbelievable. 4, Grand National at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. It's a bit bumpy, but that airtime is fantastic, and it does race. 5 is actually Big Dipper at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. You have a single position lap bar that gave me a lot of room, and I got some great ejector airtime on the first few hills in the back row. Number 6, Rita at Alton Towers. It's a smaller hydraulic launch coaster, but that launch is still punchy, and it has some airtime on the course. Number 7, Saw the Ride at Thorpe Park. I found this to be decently smooth for a Eurofighter, and the drop was awesome as usual, and I just thought the layout was faster paced than your average Eurofighter. Plus, I had some good terror theming, because Merlin loves that. 8, Swarm at Thorpe Park. It's a pretty good wing coaster. I love all the near misses, particularly in the first half. It's just not nearly as good as some of the other wing coasters. Number 9, Oblivion at Alton Towers. Yes, it's a one-trick pony, but that drop is one of my favorite drops on any coaster. And number 10, I'd go with Dragon's Fury at Chessington World of Adventure. One of my favorite spinning coasters. It has a more spread-out layout with some big drops in it. Jimi T asked, rank the Cedar Fair parks and Six Flags parks against each other. So I ranked my top 10 Cedar Fair and Six Flags parks, and I hope that's what you're looking for. So number 1, Cedar Point, just that coaster lineup combined with that atmosphere, like that can't be beat. Number 2, Kings Island, just great staff. I just love being in that park, and the coaster lineup just keeps getting better and better with Mystic Timbers and Orion. Number 3, Six Flags Fiesta Texas. This Six Flags park just doesn't feel like a Six Flags park. It feels more like a Busch Gardens SeaWorld park with how nice it looks. And it has 2 lead RMCs in Wonder Woman and Iron Rattler, plus a really good supporting cast of other coasters and non-coasters. Number 4, I would go with Six Flags Great Adventure. That coaster lineup is fantastic, and it's only going to get better at Jersey Devil. But you also have some other things that make the park stand out, such as the Safari, the world's tallest drop tower, and you also have Holiday in the Park, which there's just something magical being at that park, riding B&Ms when it's below 20 degrees. Number 5, Six Flags Magic Mountain. After Cedar Point, it's probably my favorite coaster lineup of any park. I'm not the biggest fan of this park's operations, but that coaster lineup just carries this park. Number 6, Knott's Berry Farm. I love the ghost town area, and the front of the park is very charming. It has some nice rides, too, with, that Log Flume and Ghost Rider, plus some of the other steel coasters. Number 7, I'd go with Canada's Wonderland. Very well-run park. The 3 B&Ms are great rides, and the flat ride collection is just incredible. They have some weird flats there. Number 8, I'd go with Carowinds. Fury 325 is one of my favorite coasters, and it's just such a well-run park, and it has a few other decent rides, too. Like, you have Afterburn's a very good invert, Copperhead Strike's a fun launch coaster, and Intimidator, I know it's not one of the best B&M hypers, but it's still a solid ride. Number 9, Six Flags Over Texas. Very well-rounded lineup and just a nice-looking park. And number 10, Six Flags Over Georgia. Pretty similar to Six Flags Over Texas. I just prefer the overall appearance of Over Georgia a bit more. Sorry, I just prefer the appearance of Over Texas a bit more than Over Georgia. The Quacken asked, Do you think Islands of Adventure's VelociCoaster will beat Iron Gwazi for the best new coaster next year? So both rides look great. I do think I'll probably prefer Iron Gwazi just based off my past love of the RMC layouts, and this looks like one of the better ones. But hey, I hope I'm pleasantly surprised if VelociCoaster is even better than I expected, because I still think VelociCoaster is going to be a great ride. The Quacken also asked, what is the roughest roller coaster you've experienced? Great American Scream Machine at Six Flags Over Georgia? So Great American Scream Machine is very rough, but for me it's easily Coaster Express at Parque Warner Madrid. I have never seen Intamin T-bars used as weapons of destruction, but that's exactly what Coaster Express did. That ride hurt. It's one of those RCCA specials, and it's tracked so poorly and it'll just beat you up start to finish. So Badger State Coasters asked 55 questions, so this will be a lightning round. Favorite coaster? Lightning Rod Dollywood. Favorite Cedar Fair park? Cedar Point. Favorite Six Flags park? Six Flags Fiesta Texas. Favorite SeaWorld park? Busch Gardens Williamsburg. Favorite independently run park? Knoebels. Weirdest coaster you've been on? Gekion Live Coaster at Tokyo Joyopolis. Having a Guitar Hero like rhythm game with a launch, an inversion, and a spinning coaster, that's just such a bizarre combo. Most overrated coaster in your opinion? So I'm going to go with Kawasemi at Tobu Zoo, but I have to add a caveat that I was pretty much the only person on the train the day I was there. So it definitely wasn't warmed up. It wasn't running to its fullest potential. I mean, it was a fun ride. I just don't see how it would be top 10, but I hope I get to ride one of the other Megalites someday and it proves me wrong. Most underrated coaster, Swamp Fox at Family Kingdom. Amazing airtime. Favorite coaster manufacturer, RMC. Least favorite coaster manufacturer, RCCA. Have they ever made a good ride? Favorite flat ride? So I'm going to exclude Drop Towers, but my favorite one is the Traveling Top Scan I rode at Oktoberfest. That ride was absolutely crazy with the amount of flipping, laterals, positive Gs. That ride was nuts. It was just a complete barrage of forces for like 5 minutes straight. Favorite RMC, my favorite coaster, Lightning Rod Dollywood. Favorite B&M, Fury 325 at Carowinds. Favorite Intamin, Expedition G-Force at Holiday Park. Favorite GCI, Mystic Timbers at Kings Island. Favorite SNS, Ejunica at Fuji Q Highland. Favorite Arrow, X2 at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Favorite Vekoma, so I haven't been any of the new Vekomas, but I'd go with Star Wars Hyperspace Mountain at Disneyland Paris. Favorite Schwarzkopf, Chimera at La Feria de Chapultepec. Favorite Gerstlauer, Schwerdes Karn at Hansa Park. Favorite Premier Rides coaster, West Coast Racers at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Favorite Gravity Group, Voyage at Holiday World. Favorite airtime moment, I would go with the finale in Phoenix. I just love how much airtime that ride provides with just the buzz bars. Least favorite airtime moment, so I would go with the off-axis hill on Rainier Rush at the Washington State Fair. It actually gives decent airtime, and that's the problem. Your knee is positioned right below this metal bar, so when you get this airtime pop, your knee gets crushed into the bar, and it hurts like heck. Which is better, Lil Phantom or Coco Cruiser? Coco Cruiser. It's not in Kittyland, so I don't feel awkward going up to it. Lightning Rod or Steel Vengeance? Lightning Rod, my favorite coaster. Untamed or Wildfire? I'm assuming you mean the RMCs. If that's the case, Untamed at Wallaby Holland. Twisted Colossus or Iron Rattler? Twisted Colossus. I love Iron Rattler, but Twisted Colossus is a longer ride. Iron Gwazi or Zadra? Both look great, but I'm going to go with Zadra just because the pacing on that ride looks unreal. Hakugai or Storm Chaser? So I haven't ridden Hakugai, but it does look better than Storm Chaser. El Toro or Voyage? Easily Voyage for me. Banshee or Montu? Easily Banshee. Oh, sorry. Easily Montu. Got that one mixed up. Mako or Diamondback? Mako. Candemonium or Raging Bull? Easily Candemonium. Valraven or Yukon Striker? Yukon Striker. Takabisha, TMT Shellraiser, or Smiler? Smiler. I just love all the inversions in that theme feature in the middle of the ride. Kumba or Hulk? So this one's a lot closer than I think people think it would be for me, but I prefer Kumba, though. because Hulk's second half dies. Dollywood or Silver Dollar City? Silver Dollar City. Better theming than Dollywood and just a much deeper ride lineup. Alton Towers or Thorpe Park? Easily Alton Towers. Fuji-Q Highland or Nagashima Spyland? I went back and forth in this one, but I'm going to go with the Nagashima Spyland because the operations are a bit better. Wallaby Holland or Wallaby Belgium? So I haven't been to Wallaby Belgium, but I really like Wallaby Holland, so I'll say that one for now. Cedar Point or Kings Island? Cedar Point easily. Kings Island's a great park, but just can't compete with Cedar Point's all around, atmosphere and the rides there. Busch Gardens Tampa or Busch Gardens Williamsburg? Williamsburg. Six Flags Magic Mountain or Six Flags Great America? Magic Mountain. That coaster line just can't be beat there. Kennywood or Hershey Park? Hershey Park. Carowinds or King's Dominion? Carowinds. This would have been a bit harder had Volcano still been there. California's Great America or Knott's Berry Farm? Knott's Berry Farm. Dorney Park or Worlds of Fun? This was a coin flip for me, but I'm going to go with Dorney Park just because I think it's a bit of a nicer looking park, and I just think that Steel Force is the best ride of those parks. Valley Fair or Michigan's Adventure? I will go with Valley Fair there. Kentucky Kingdom or Holiday World? Easily Holiday World. La Ronde or Six Flags America? So I actually just went to Six Flags America, and that park was better than I remembered, so definitely that park. Six Flags New England or Six Flags Great Adventure? Great Adventure. I will drive the extra 2-3 hours if I get the chance anytime. Frontier City or Great Escape? Great Escape. Six Flags Fiesta Texas or Six Flags Over Texas? I'd go with Six Flags Fiesta Texas. There's my favorite Six Flags park. Serperior Fox asked, what is the most unique coaster you have ridden? I would go with Slope Shooter at Higashiyama Zoo. It basically looks like a soapbox derby car riding down Lombard Street in San Francisco. If you don't know what Lombard Street is, it's that it's that street on the hill that just winds back and forth almost like a Wild Mouse coaster. Slope Shooter is such a bizarre ride. JerseyCoasterKid asked, what is your favorite roller coaster building game? Because all my other questions already got taken. So I think Planet Coaster is the best in terms of capabilities and just what I can build. But I play Roller Coaster Tycoon Classic on my phone the most just because it's easy to pick up and play that one. Whereas Planet Coaster, I need to dedicate a certain amount of time to build something nice. Joy asked, top 3 coasters at Six Flags Great America. Now, I visited before Max Force, and I suspect that would have made the list. But for me, it's 1 Goliath, 2 Raging Bull, and 3 Batman. North Star Coasters asked, Six Flags or Cedar Fair? B&M or Intamin? Congrats on 1,000. Well, thank you. I prefer Cedar Fair over Six Flags. I find Cedar Fair parks tend to be a bit better run, and I tend to like their new additions a bit more. In terms of B&M or Intamin, I will go with Intamin just because they seem to innovate faster than B&M and have a wider range of attractions. And in general, I prefer the elite Intamins over the elite B&Ms, but B&M is fantastic for what they do. They make a reliable product that's more often than not a very smooth, re-rideable ride. Intensity Thrills asked, 1, any future trips planned? I don't have any trips booked at the moment, but I'm probably going to go back down to Six Flags Great Adventure later this month. 2, what's your credit count? 1,019. I got 7 more this past weekend. And 3, what's your top 3? 1, Lightning Rock Dollywood, 2, Voyage at Holiday World, and 3, Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point. Chief Beef asked, what is your biggest bucket list coaster and bucket list park? So I touched on these earlier, but I'll hit them again. For bucket list coasters, T-Express at Everland. I love the Intamin prefabs I've been on. This one looks like the best one with that drop and just the endless airtime hills in the second half. And bucket list parks, Energylandia, just because of that coaster lineup. West Coast Coasters asked, favorite California coaster and park? So my favorite coaster is Twisted Colossus, just the sheer length of that ride and all the airtime moments makes it for me. And favorite park's easily Disneyland. I'm just so happy at that park. The theming is just unbelievable, and I love all the well-themed rides in that park. BR asked, what are your top 3 favorite and least favorite manufacturers? So my 3 favorites, the top 2 were easy, Intamin and RMC. I had to think hard about the third one, but I wanted to go with Gravity Group just because they are really good at making the big ride like Voyage or making a smaller ride like Roarosaurus that really packs in the airtime. And my three least favorite, I had to go with RCCA because, you know, the ones I've been on absolutely beat you up. I also went with Fabry because the coasters I rode there aren't very good as well. And three, I haven't been on Golden Horse, but I'm going to put them on there just because I'm not a fan of how they rip off other companies. And supposedly got kicked off the IAPA floor a few years ago. Noah Conrad asked, what are your top three favorite coaster models? So I would go with 1 and 2 are the RMC Topper track and iBox. I just love what RMC does with that track and the layouts they come up with. And then for the last one, I would go with the Intamin Mega Coaster. I just love the sense of speed in those coasters and the airtime they deliver. Michelle Gade asked, favorite food at a theme park? So I know a lot of people are probably expecting cinnamon bread at Dollywood, but remember, I don't like sweets. So for that reason, I'm going to go with the Bacon Pretzel Fury at Busch Gardens, Tampa. Soft pretzels are my weakness, and when you wrap one around bacon, like that's just heaven for me. XGreen 64 asked, best coaster soundtrack? I got this question earlier, but Helix at Leesburg. I just love the futuristic dance vibe it has, though Orion's a close second. Coaster Keychain asked, what's your favorite Mauer spinner? When just at Phantasialand. I don't want to say too much why it's my favorite one because it would ruin some of the spoilers with the ride. I'll just say that it does some things that I didn't know a spinning coaster was going to do when I rode it. X Coasters Forever asked, best setting on a coaster? I love the wooded hillsides of Lightning Rod and Boulder Dash at Lake Compounds. It's especially great at night when you're just isolated out there and ripping up that hillside. X Coasters Forever also asked, Lightning Rod or Sky Rush? So Sky Rush is a fantastic ride, but easily Lightning Rod. The airtime is, just as crazy as Sky Rush, but it's a lot more re-rideable. There's more airtime moments, and that setting puts it over the edge. Trimz 75 asked, favorite element on a coaster? Phoenix's Final Four Bunny Hills. Buzz bar plus that level of airtime is incredible. Mike asked, what is your stance on the various credit debates? Racing coasters, relocations, conversions from stand-up to floorless, etc. So I will touch on those ones you called out specifically. So racing coasters, I count as 2 credits if they're 2 separate independent tracks like Lightning Racer at Hershey Park. But I don't count them if it's a Mobius loop like Racer at Kennywood. That's only 1 track. I consider relocations actually 2 credits. I know that's what most people consider them 1, but I think that the coaster's setting and how well it's maintained at the new park can play a big role. I don't count a roller coaster being relocated in the same park as a new credit, though. And then I consider the stand-up to floorless conversions as new credits just because it's such a different riding position. And so I know one of the ones that someone's going to throw at me is, what about that SBF Visa one that has the hamster wheel and the spinning cars on it? I honestly might consider that 2 separate coaster credits, but I really need a ride to see how different it feels. But ultimately, it's count whatever you want, unless it's a Larson loop. And only Six Flags counts those. So Millennium Force Man asked 100 questions for 1,000 subs. So this will be another fast round. So let's see how this goes. 1, why did you start your channel? I just wanted a way to share my love of roller coasters when the pandemic hit, because I couldn't go to parks and my other hobbies shut down temporarily. So it was a good way just to share something I love. 2, how did you become an enthusiast? So I can't remember a time I wasn't a coaster enthusiast. I always loved theme parks. I remember having this Storyland puzzle when I was younger. 3, weirdest coaster you've ridden. I mentioned this earlier, but Gekion Live Coaster at Tokyo Joyopolis. Basically a Guitar Hero rhythm game with a launched inverting spinner. That's just crazy. 4, favorite manufacturer, RMC. 5, favorite park, Disneyland. I originally would have said Tokyo Disneyland, but Disneyland's Max Pass system allows me to get way more fast passes, and Rise of the Resistance put them over the edge. 6, least favorite park. It's either NASCAR Speed Park or Atlantic Beach Park. Both lied about the operating attractions they had, which really did not put me in a good mood visiting those parks. 7, weirdest park you've been to. Brazilian park, which is in Highland. You have a Brazilian theme park in Japan, and the park is a giant dead end atop a mountain where you have to climb this obnoxious staircase to get up to. 8, favorite layout in any coaster. Voyage at Holiday World. I love how it goes out in the woods and uses the terrain in a way that you don't even realize you're going up a hill. 9, favorite element in any coaster. Phoenix's Finale. I love those bunny hills with just the buzz bars. 10, favorite airtime moment sequence in any coaster. Phoenix's Finale. 11, what is your favorite moment of positive forces you've experienced on a coaster? Chimera's third loop. That loop pulls some serious G's because that ride ran unbraked. 12, what coaster is your favorite pacing? Lightning Rod, Dollywood. Once that ride gets going, it doesn't stop till you hit the brake run. 13, what's your number one bucket list coaster? I mentioned this earlier. T-Express at Everland. Basically, it's the marriage of Balder and El Toro. 14, if there's one coaster you haven't ridden that you were told you could never ride, but you could choose what coaster it would be, what coaster would you choose? Montezuma and Hopi Hari. The Coaster Express was not a good ride. It was built by the same manufacturer, and everything I've heard about Montezuma is that it's a brutal ride, so I really don't want to ride that one. 15, are you planning on going to Energylandia and Legendia soon? I was actually supposed to go this past summer, but that got postponed due to the pandemic, and I'm hoping to get there next year. What's your credit count as of now? 1,019. 17, what's your most recent credit? Great Chase at Six Flags America. No shame. 18, what's your rarest credit? Probably Blue 2 at John Ivor's old farm, just because Blue Flash was relocated, and I think that was the more popular one, whereas Blue 2 came, I think, a few years later and it wasn't relocated. 19, what's your favorite defunct coaster you have ridden? Dueling Dragons and Islands Adventure. Great inverts on their own, especially when you interacted them. 20, favorite defunct park you've been to? Scandia, Ontario. I haven't been to too many defunct parks, but that's probably my favorite one. What's the most charming park you've been to? Santa's Village in New Hampshire, especially at Christmas time. 22, what park that you've been to has the best atmosphere? Tokyo Disneyland. That park is beautiful and the employees are super friendly. 23, what's the cleanest park you've been to? Also Tokyo Disneyland. What park you've been to has the best staff? Also Tokyo Disneyland. Like, the employees there just go completely out of their way to make your day better. 25, what's your favorite layout of a park? So I'm going to go Knoebels just because I hate when parks have like these obnoxious dead ends, and Knoebels literally lets you walk across any section of the park and you can make anything a path there, so there's a million different ways to get to each attraction. And I also love how that park's underneath the tree canopy. 26, what's your least favorite layout of a park? What shoes in Highland? Having a dead end atop an obnoxiously big hill where you just have a staircase to get atop is not going to endear yourself to me. 27, what's your favorite flat ride of all time? So my favorite flat model is a drop tower, but my favorite individual flat ride is the crazy top scan I rode at Oktoberfest. That ride was run insanely fast for such a long time that it gave ridiculous positive G's, crazy laterals, and just the amount of flipping, it blew me away. It ruined top scans in the US for me. 28, what is your favorite dark ride of all time? Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. I made a long review for that ride, but that ride is exceptional. 29, what is your favorite water ride of all time? Splash Mountain, specifically the one at Tokyo Disneyland. 30, flat rides or dark rides? Dark rides, they tend to be more unique. 31, favorite coaster layout designer? I'll go with Alan Schilke. I love everything he's made for RMC, and even some of his later Arrow creations were great too. 32, what is your biggest guilty pleasure coaster? So I will go with Hagrid's at Islands of Adventure, just because I hate myself for liking it more than Dueling Dragons, but I genuinely love Hagrid's and come off with a big smile every time. 33, what is the most overrated coaster in your opinion? I mentioned this one earlier, but Kawasami at Tobo Zoo. Again, I didn't ride this one at its fullest potential. The ride barely cycled the day I was there, and I was often one of only 2 people on the train. So I know it was running rather slow. I'm just wondering how much better it could have been. But hopefully one day I'll get on, some of the better ones like Dejers Summerland. 34, what is the most underrated coaster in your opinion? Swamp Fox at Family Kingdom. that level of ejector airtime with just buzz bars is fantastic. 35. What is the most well-rated coaster in your opinion? I'll probably go with Steel Vengeance to Cedar Point because pretty much everyone that comes off that ride says it's one of the best rides in the world, and I don't really know anyone that hates that ride. 36. What is your favorite Intamin Blitz coaster? I would go with Ice Speed at Miramolandia. That first half is absolutely insane. 37. Favorite B&M invert? Osiris at Park Asterix. Theming like Montu, forceful inversions, and about a half dozen airtime moments if you ride in the back. 38. What is your favorite Intamin accelerator? Formula Rossa, Ferrari World, the marriage of Dragster, and Millennium Force. 39. What is your favorite B&M floorless? Superman Krypton coaster. Forceful, and I love the quarry setting. 40. What is your favorite B&M hyper? Excluding the Gigas, easily Shambhala. Just the airtime in that coaster is unbelievable, and every drop caused my stomach to drop, which I'd never really have that happen. 41. What is your favorite GCI Woody? Mystic Timbers at Kings Island. 42. What is your favorite Gerstlauer Eurofighter? Since Monster doesn't count, and I'm kind of confused why that's an Infinity Coaster and not a Eurofighter, I will go with TMNT Shellraiser at Nickelodeon Universe. I like it a little more than Takabisha just because the indoor setting makes it more disorienting. Favorite B&M dive coaster? Just barely Griffin at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. Love the original restraints, and just it has a nice long layout with some surprising airtime pops in the second half. Favorite Aero Looper? I'm assuming I should exclude X2. If that's the case, Tennessee Tornado at Dollywood. It's a short ride, but the drop through the mountain's fantastic, and I love the inversions. Favorite Premier Rides coaster? West Coast Racers at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Just an all-around good ride. It's a lot of fun with the dueling. 46. What is one defunct coaster you wish you could have ridden? Eagle Fortress at Everland. That ride looked like it had ridiculous pacing, and I would have loved that setting on the hillside. 47. Was there ever any coasters out there that you wouldn't ride? Twist Coaster Robin at Yomiuri Land. Just look at what happened opening day. 48. What do you think is the most innovative coaster ever? I will go with X2 at Six Flags Magic Mountain just because of how, a lot of people didn't think that coaster was possible at the time. And, it made Aero go bankrupt, but just the fact that you were able to pull off that flipping first drop is crazy. 49. What is the most unreliable coaster from your experience? So I really, really want to say Lightning Rod because I've been spied out of that ride the first 3 times I went to Dollywood and in my most recent visit. But I have to go with Alpine Bobsled at Great Escape. I go to that park pretty much every single year, and I've only ridden it once in the past 7 years because it's always closed. That ride can't run in the rain. When it does open, it seems to get stuck on the lift hill and get evac'd. And if it does open by some miracle, it has to close early because of the local noise ordinance in the town. Last year, I actually could have had a chance to ride it, but I didn't know it was open because an employee at Great Escape told me they list the rides closed by default in the app, even if it's open, just so they don't get any more complaints about the ride. That's not a good sign. 50. Best coaster lineup in your opinion? Easily Cedar Point. 51. What park is the most overrated coaster lineup in your opinion? So I had to think hard about this, but I'm going to go with Six Flags Great America. Their depth is incredible, but I guess I don't love their top-notch quality as much as some of the other parks. Goliath is a good ride, but it's a little short. And Raging Bull is good in the back row, but it's not a perfect ride. 52. What park is the most underrated coaster lineup in your opinion? I will go with Universal Orlando as a whole, and it's only going to get better once Velocicoaster opens. 53. Would you rather have Coaster Express be given 30 ejector moments but still be as rough as it is, or keep the layout but make it butter smooth? I will go with the second because I don't know if I could take another ride on Coaster Express, and I'd want to keep riding if it had that level of ejector airtime. But if it was butter smooth and boring, it just sounds like California's Great America's Grizzly, which I don't hate that ride. It's just a one and done for me. 54. Favorite coaster restraints? Not having any, so the less is better. So, buzz bars. 55. Least favorite coaster restraint? Coast Rider at Knott's Berry Farm. The fact that those shin guards completely ruin a Wild Mouse and make it painful is just, I can't believe those exist. It basically feels like a hot panini press crushed against your shins, especially if you get stapled. 56. What is the comfiest seat on a coaster you've ridden? Space Mountain at Magic Kingdom. Just they're very well padded and it feels like a beanbag chair. 57. What is the highest amount of credits you've gotten in one day? 16. The day I did both Gardaland and Mirabilandia on the same day. 58. How many different countries have you ridden coasters in? 14. Which manufacturer have you ridden the most coasters from? Vekoma, 101. 60. What is your favorite beginning on a coaster? El Toro's first drop and 2 camelbacks. The ejector airtime is incredible. 61. What is your favorite middle section of any coaster? Chimera. Those 3 vertical loops are nuts. 62. What is your favorite ending on any coaster? Phoenix's Final Bunny Hills. That airtime is lovely with just the buzz bar. 63. What is your favorite trim or mid-course break on a coaster? I would go with Adventureland's Monster, just because that trim slows you down and gets you this crazy lateral hang time, and then you crawl through that final corkscrew and get even more great hang time. 64. What is your least favorite trim mid-course on a coaster? So I'm going to go with Wildcat Frontier City, because not only is the stop extremely abrupt, but it replaced the old double down that looked like it had some insane airtime. 65. If you could design a coaster, what would it be like? I think it would be like Lightning Rod, except it would be done by Intamin, so the launch would be a bit more forceful. 65. 66. Do you agree coasters have to be designed like a story? Have a theme to the layout, start all big and bold, and end very climactically with rapid fire stuff, and have lots of plot twists? Not necessarily. I sort of like when coasters are random, like look at Thunderbolt at Kennywood. It goes completely out of order, but it's still a fun ride. For me, it's just how good are the elements. I don't necessarily care what order they come in. 67. Do you think transitions on a coaster are very overlooked? Yes, because they can prevent dead spots. 68. What is your favorite coaster name? Hunter Prutton, aka the Dog Fart Coaster at Bon Bon Land. I'm juvenile and I'll admit it. 69. What is your least favorite coaster name? Suspended looping coaster over water, because that's just laughably lazy. 70. What is your favorite coaster color scheme? Orion at Kings Island. I love the shade of blue, and it looks incredible at night with that blue streak up the lift and the Rainbow Road-esque lighting package. 71. What is your least favorite coaster color scheme? Starjet with Shoes in Highland. I realize that has been painted since I was there, but just the rusted over white just looked awful. 72. What is your favorite theming for a coaster? I'm going to go with Schwerters-Karnen, just because it's impressive how well themed a hypercoaster is. I don't want to spoil the tricks of that ride, but the theming of that ride makes an already great coaster even more special. 73. What is your favorite looking coaster train? Slinky Dog Dash. 74. What is the weirdest looking coaster train? Runaway Tram at Maurice Piers. That face in the front of the vehicle is terrifying, and having the tram worker standing on the back is just so Wildwood. 75. What is your favorite looking track style? I will go classic wood coasters. 76. What is your favorite looking supports for a coaster? Untamed at Canby Lake Park. They painted them like birch trees. 77. What is your favorite location for a coaster? The wooded hillsides of Lightning Rod, Dollywood, or Boulder Dash at Lake Compounds. 78. What is your least favorite location for a coaster? So, I'm going to say Rail Runner and Kista. I love the actual ride setting, but it's annoying how you have to take the tram car just to get up there in order to ride it once. So, the Alpine coaster that would otherwise be a 5-minute experience turns into an hour-long endeavor. 79. Favorite logo for a coaster? I wasn't a big fan of the ride, but I'll say Mean Streak. I love that logo. 80. Favorite queue line for a coaster? Schwerters-Karnen at Hampton Park. Great theming in the queue line, and it has an interesting way that it assigns seats. 81. Best manufacturer for flat rides? Technical Park. They make so many crazy flipping rides. 82. Does what Sandor Kimak say to defend Intamin when they get sued very enthusiast-like and funny? So I actually couldn't quite find this quote. If you put it in the comments, I'm happy to respond to it. I just couldn't find it. 83. If you ran a park, would you rather get a B&M for capacity, reliability, and broad target audience, Or would you rather get an Intamin for their flexibility, unique designs, and extreme experience? Since if I'm a park owner, I want to get that broad audience so that way I can increase attendance to the max, I'm going to go with the B&M. 84. If you could open up a park with 10 coasters and you also to make a balanced lineup, what would your 10 coasters be? 1, Bubbles the coaster, because it's the best kiddie coaster. I mean, it literally blows bubbles when you're going down the lift. 2, Fire Chaser Express. It's a family coaster. It's a jack of all trades. 3, Phoenix. Great wood coaster, and the 42-inch height requirement makes it such that younger kids can ride as well. Then I'll go with Lightning Rod. It's my favorite coaster. Excellent use of terrain, and it's a unique launch wooden coaster. And fingers crossed it stays like that. Then I'd go with Formula Rosa, getting that record-breaking, world's fastest launch coaster. And it just gives a full layout. It really is the marriage of Top Thrill Dragster and Millennium Force. Then I would go with Fury 325 for the crowd-pleasing Giga Coaster. And then since I need some inversions, I'll throw in Flying Dinosaur, the best flyer. Osiris, my favorite invert. Time Traveler to get that rare spinning... the rare extreme spinning coaster, and then I'd go with Shockwave at Six Flags Over Texas because that also is a 42-inch height requirement. 85. Will Energylandia have 1,000 coasters by 2114? So they're only averaging 3 new coasters per year, so at that rate I think they'll only have 297 coasters by 2114, not 1,000. Let's not exaggerate here. 86. What do you think Cedar Point will get next? I'm assuming you mean coasters for all these, so I'm going to go with something that breaks the inversion record. 87. What do I think Kings Island will get next? I think a Vortex replacement, probably a mock multi-launch, because as evidenced by Copperhead Strike, that can run during Winterfest. 88. What do I think Kings Dominion will get next? After the free spin, I think they'll get that rumored B&M wing coaster. I just think that got delayed a bit. 89. What do you think Darien Lake will get next? I hope RMC Predator. 90. What do you think Six Flags Magic Mountain will get next? So after the highly rumored RMC Raptor, I could see them getting a free spin because they'll be long enough removed from Green Lantern, and those rides are pretty good. 91. What do you think Six Flags Great Adventure will get? After Jersey Devil, I'm going to go out on a limb and say maybe the SNS Access Coaster. I see that being the next model as Six Flags spreads like wildfire through their parks. 92. What do you think Busch Gardens Tampa will get next? A junior GCI like Invadar. 93. What do you think Busch Gardens Williamsburg will get next? Drakenspire, because BGW fans are usually spot on. 94. What do you think Fuji-Q Highland will get next? Shot in the dark, but one of those SFX coasters. Fuji-Q's been adding a lot of indoor rides lately, and we know they're spending a lot of money on this project, and I think they could do something special with that. 95. What do you think Nagashima Spyland will get next? They could use a new launch coaster, so I'll go with one of those intimate LSM coasters, whether it be a Blitz or something bigger like Red Force. 96. What do you think Alton Towers will get next? Some sort of family motorbike coaster, possibly from Intamin. 97. What do you think Leesburg will get next? I think they'll get that compact multi-launch Intamin coaster that was shown in those concept videos, or maybe something like Sandy's Blasting Bronco. Either of those would be great for the park. 98. What do you think Wallaby Holland will get next? I will go with a new wood coaster from Gravity Group, one of the family-style ones. Just because that park loves airtime, and that would be a nice fit for them. 99. What do you think Wallaby Belgium will get next? I'll go with a Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster based off the trends in that chain, where they have added those Infinity Coasters. And 100. What do you think Energylandia will get next? Another random kiddie coaster, because they seem like they add another one every year. Max Hagenauer asked, airtime or launches? Easily airtime. Skyrush or El Toro's drop? This is very close, but I'm going to go with El Toro's drop. It's a bit easier to get the airtime on that drop with how the restraints are set up, but both drops are very forceful. And Vekoma Boomerangs or drop towers? Easily drop towers. They're a much more re-rideable experience, and I prefer the drop anyway. Carrie Buchanan asked, favorite enthusiast event you've attended? Hollywood Nights. Just the camaraderie between the enthusiasts is great, and getting night rides in Holiday World's roller coasters is just fantastic, particularly Trimless Voyage. The Golden Dubya asked, What was your inspiration to start this channel, and what was your inspiration for traveling the globe and riding all sorts of awesome coasters? So I just wanted a way to interact with other enthusiasts when the parks were closed. As for my inspiration for starting getting into coasters, I always just remember loving Storyland Santa's Village when my parents took me there, and just my amusement park love grew from there. Buken Dukem asked, pick 3 coaster YouTubers that you enjoy watching and pick the park you'd spend the day with them. So I don't want to name any because I don't think it's fair if I exclude one or name one that. Yeah, I'm just gonna not name any coaster YouTubers for that reason. But I will say Canobie Lake Park just because I love to show off my home park. Luke Farley asked, favorite coaster by each manufacturer. So I'll get to that in a sec. RMC or Intamin. So RMC, I love every single one of their rides. GCI or Gravity Group. Gravity Group, they make a wider range of attractions, family and adult, that give lots of airtime. And least favorite changes a theme park makes. I will go suddenly reducing a schedule with little notice. So favorite coaster by each manufacturer. I only named coasters that I've been on, and I have to have ridden a few coasters from that manufacturer. So Aquatic Development Group, the Nor'easter Mountain Coaster at Attach in New Hampshire. Aerodynamics X2 at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Ballagher Mabillard Fury 325 at Carowinds. Chance Morgan Lightning Ride Kentucky Kingdom. Custom Coasters International Boulder Dash at Lake Compounce. The Din Corporation Georgia Cyclone at Six Flags Over Georgia. Fabry Kung Fu Panda Master Gardaland, which stinks, but I had to pick something. Gerslauer Schwertes Karn at Hansa Park, and that one's not even close. Geo Vanola Titan at Six Flags Over Texas, the extra helix gives it the edge. Gravity Group Voyage at Holiday World, another one that's not even close. Great Coasters International Mystic Timbers at Kings Island. Herb Schmeck Phoenix at Knoebels. Herschel, the monster mouse that used to run at Quasi. Hui Sangho Ko Voyage d'Anse Ciel at Fuji-Q Highland. Hopkins Desert Storm at Castles and Coasters. Intamin Expedition G-Force at Holiday Park. John Allen Swamp Fox at Family Kingdom. John Miller Big Dipper at Black Bull Pleasure Beach. L&T Systems The Runaway Train at Gillian's Wonderland Pier. Mach Helix at Leesburg, though note I haven't been on DC Rivals. Maurer Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket. Myler Scandia Screamer at Scandia, rest in peace, and hopefully that gets relocated. Morgan Fam's Revenge at Kennywood. National Amusement Devices Big Dipper at Camden Park. PAX Formula One at Park St. Paul. Premier Rides West Coast Racers at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Preston Sea Viper at Palace Playland. Pryor and Church The Giant Dipper at Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. Revertron the Drifting Coaster at Oktoberfest. Rocky Mountain Construction for Lightning Rod at Dollywood. RCCA Bandit Movie Park Germany because it's the lesser of all evils. S&S Egenika at Fuji-Q Highland. Sansei Yusoki Co. Spaceship 2056 at New Ryoma World, aka the ripoff Space Mountain. SBF Visa, the Fun Coaster at Funplex. Schwarzkopf Chimera at La Feria de Chapultepec. Senyo Kogyo Co. Diving Coaster Vanish at Yokohama Cosmo World. Togo Surf Coaster Leviathan at Sea Paradise, and that one's not even close. Vekoma, again, I haven't been on the new Vekomas, so Star Wars Hyperspace Mountain at Disneyland Paris. Wiegand Alpine Coaster at Colbin Saddle. That one was an obnoxiously long mountain coaster where you had to ride a chairlift to the top. William Cobb Cyclone at Six Flags New England. Wisdom Rides Pirates Hideaway at Casino Pier, because again I had to pick something. Zamperla Thunderbolt at Luna Park. And Zaire Wicked at Lagoon. Alan Trotter asked, congrats on 1,000, you have really great content. Well, thank you. What are the must-see parks in Europe? Maybe pick the top 3 and then one sleeper. So 1 and 2 are easy, Europa and Phantasialand, great coasters and wonderful theming. Number 3, I'll go with Alton Towers. Again, very good theming, very good coasters, just a notch below the other one. What coaster have you ridden the most? Any idea on the number of times you've ridden it? So I'm a nerd, so I keep track of that, but it's Phoenix at Knoebels 137 times. got a bunch of rides on that coaster this year. What coaster clubs are you a member of? I was previously a member of Club TPR, though that club is sort of stopped. What are your 3 favorite airtime moments? 1, Phoenix's finale. Just that airtime with the buzz bars is wonderful. 2, Lightning Rod's quad down. The strength of that ejector airtime and how fast you're flying makes it. And 3, El Toro's first drop and 2 camelbacks. That's some of the best sustained ejector airtime of any coaster. Andy Roman asked, what is your favorite coaster channel? There are too many good ones to choose, so I'm going to defer that question. What is some advice for someone planning a coaster trip? Prioritize your most important rides just in case any breakdowns happen. The last thing you want is to travel to a park you don't anticipate coming back to for a long time and knowing the ride ran at the start of the day and then it went down. And also, join a hotel's rewards program just because if you're going to be traveling a lot, you can easily rack up rewards points at free rooms. Has there been any coaster you have been scared to ride even after becoming an enthusiast? Yes, some kiddie coasters. I just fear that awkward encounter with the op when they tell you single adults can't ride alone. And what is your favorite flat ride? Favorite model? Drop Towers. Favorite overall ride is the Top Scan that ran at Oktoberfest. That ride was insane with how fast it ran, all the flipping, and just the laterals and forces in that ride were just ridiculous. Random person asked, are there any coasters on your credit list that you don't remember riding? So I don't necessarily remember my first ride in some of my earliest coasters like Polar Coaster, Rudy's Rapid Transit Coaster, but I have ridden those rides, afterwards, so I remember those rides. In every case, I remember being at the park. I just don't necessarily remember riding that ride that day. Lastly, Joseph Henley asked, what are your favorite channels to watch and what is your favorite Schwarzkopf? So again, I'm not answering that because there's too many good ones to pick from. But my favorite Schwarzkopf is definitely Chimera. The fact that they ran that without the brakes, it flew through the course, and the G's were ridiculous. So those were all the questions you guys asked, and I'm glad to elaborate any further in the comments if you have any follow-up questions. But thanks again for submitting the questions. Thanks again for skipping around for my content, and look forward to interacting with you guys more in the future. So thanks again.